Hey guys, what's up? My name's Jamie Atkinson. If you don't know who I am, I'm the founder of podcastclosing.com, and we help 6, 7, and 8-figure entrepreneurs create predictable client acquisition using nothing but a podcast. And today is exciting because I'm breaking down our most recent Black Friday launch, and it was a pretty good one. It's probably the best launch we've done for a promotion like this. And a lot of people have been saying to me, Jamie, how did it go? What did you do? What went well? And so in this podcast episode today, I want to just break this down for you. If you're listening and you want to get some visuals on this, you can head over to our YouTube channel. You can just search for Jamie Atkinson in YouTube and it's going to come up. And I'm going to give you the full breakdown of what we did and just really give you the top level understanding, because there weren't a lot of elements that we put into this Black Friday promotion, but there were a few key things that we did which really helped us to push the boundaries on what we were able to accomplish. So first of all, let me break down the results. We were able to actually get around about $41,000 worth of cash collected across the 3-day promotion that we did. And we sold $112,000 worth of revenue. And how that was made up was with 2 different offers. We had 9 people join us for our 6-figure podcast program. We did a sale, a discount on the launch of that product. It's actually a $10,000 product. We let people join for either $5,000 if they paid in full or $6,000 over 4 payments. So it would be $1,500 a month times 4 for the 16 weeks of the program. And we also had some people who joined us in one of our premium offerings, which is a $25,000 program on the back end. So we had 3 people who joined us for the $25K offer and 9 people who joined us for the $5K to $6K offer. So overall, not a bad little couple of days, right? It's probably the most money we've collected in 3 days. But what's really interesting about the revenue that we generated, the customers that took us up on this offer, is that I took a look at the data of how many people had come from our podcast and our podcast process. And I'll talk to you guys about the process in a second. But what was really interesting is that actually 10 of the people who ended up buying one of these 2 offers actually had come through our podcast closing process. So these are people who had come to us through podcast interviews. The 2 other people, one of them was an existing client. Another one was a person who'd just been following us on our email list for a really long time. So that's pretty crazy. That's like 80% of the people who took us up on this offer. And so what I want to do is kind of take you behind the scenes of what we did to enable us to have this result. And I want to talk about just some of the fundamental principles that we learned as we went through this process. So first of all, what was the core strategy that we used? Well, the core strategy we used was something called podcast closing. And you guys may be familiar with this. You may not be familiar with it. It's basically a 3-step process that we use at podcastclosing.com. And how it works is in step 1 is that we basically attract our perfect dream customer to come onto a show for a podcast interview. So we attract them, we have a funnel that we send them through, and they actually come here and they apply to come onto the show. So they apply to come and be interviewed. And that's the first step. And so we get so many people that fill in this application. Right now, we used to run a video sales letter, which had about a 3% conversion rate of people who landed on the page filling in the application. Our podcast application funnel right now converts at 25%. So we're a quarter of the people who land on that page actually fill in the application. So we get a lot of leads that come through this system, which is great. Once we get our people who are coming in and they're applying to come onto the show, the other part that we do in step 1 is that we have a really good filtering system. So we make sure that we're only actually getting people who could be in the market for buying one of our products to come onto the show. And we do this for 2 core reasons. 1, when we interview our dream customers on our podcast, who is going to be interested in listening to those people? More people who are just like them, right? If my dream customer was a chiropractor and I sold Facebook ad marketing, if I went and I interviewed marketers, I would probably just attract more marketers that were listening to the show. But if I interviewed chiropractors who wanted to grow their business online, then who would want to listen to these chiropractors being interviewed about how they're growing their business online? Other chiropractors who want to grow their business online. So a big thing that we do is that our dream customer is an online entrepreneur, usually at 6 or 7 figures, sometimes at 8 figures too, who has a podcast and who is trying to figure out how to make money and grow that show. And so by interviewing that dream customer on our podcast, not only do we speak to a lot of them, but we attract more of those people as guests who want to come onto the show as well. And then we also attract a lot of people who are listening to the show who fit that criteria, which is really exciting. In step 2, what we do is we actually do the interview process. And so when we do the interview, our number one goal is an experience that is honestly one of the best in the industry. And so our goal is to give them an absolutely amazing podcast experience, make them feel heard, get their voice amplified, get their message out there, but also give them an interview that makes them stand out from all the other interviews that they've done on different podcasts. And so step 2 is we make them feel amazing. And our number one goal here is actually to build a really good relationship with the person that we're doing the interview process with. So no matter if they want to take the next step and book a sales call, or if they just want to stay connected with us from a relationship perspective, they're going to feel really good about it. And then as we come across here into step 3, this is the final step in the podcast closing process. What we do is we actually make them an offer to get onto a sales call. So we don't pitch them our product, we don't pitch them anything intense, but at the end of the podcast interview, if it makes sense, and a lot of the time it will make sense, we essentially will say to these people, hey, I don't know if you'd be open to this, but we're really good at helping people make money with podcasts. I know you said that you've struggled a bit in that arena. Is it worth us getting on a call? I'd love to kind of tell you a little bit about our process and see whether maybe we can help you. What do you think? Right? And so we are going to just make them an offer. And our goal here is just to make an offer every time. And so if we make an offer every single time, then we're going to get a good amount of people who are going to convert through this process. And so what's really interesting about this is that of the people that bought our Black Friday offer, and this is even more interesting, I think, 5 of them actually said yes to a sales call. So we attracted them to come onto the show as a guest. We did an amazing podcast experience. At the end, we said, hey, would you like to get onto a call? We'd love to chat with you about how we can help you. And 5 of the people that bought had said yes and got onto a sales call. And then when the Black Friday offer came around, they were like, hell yeah, I'm in, and they bought. But what's also interesting is that 5 of the people who actually ended up buying this offer actually said no when we got to step 3. They said, hey, I'm actually not interested in getting on a sales call right now. And so one of the really important things that I encourage people to think about as we're doing this podcast closing process is that while we do want to try and get people coming in and booking sales calls, what we're actually doing is creating a pipeline of new potential customers that are coming into our world and learning about us. And so we personally have 2 dedicated podcast setters. These are people that run podcast interview shows for us. Each of these people are doing 30 interviews a week. And so for us personally, we're having 60 really amazing entrepreneurs who fit our criteria. These are 6- and 7-figure entrepreneurs who have podcasts who are coming into our world every single week. And we may find that, about 25 to 30 of those people book sales calls. But the other 30 who are coming into our world as well, we may find that 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now, they are also going to potentially want to become customers. So this is one of the main things that we do. A lot of people, they swim in a very small pool. They only have the pool of people that are surrounding them to draw from. What we're doing with podcast closing is we are filling up our pool with new potential people, and we are attracting them with something that is very valuable. We are leading with value. We're leading with authenticity. Before we ever ask anybody for anything, we are really just saying, hey, we want you to come on the show. We want to give you an amazing experience. And what this does is it allows us to grow our following. It allows us to grow our lead pool and get a lot of really great quality prospects, first of all, to potentially book a call immediately, but also to come back to later on. And so this is one of the first things that enabled us to have such a good Black Friday offer. Consistently every single week, we have, 20, 30, 40, 50, even 60 really good customers that are coming into us and learning about us and getting into our world. So this is the first strategy that we did leading up to this Black Friday offer. I think it's important to understand because we wouldn't have been able to sell all of these customers without making sure that these new leads were coming into our world in the first place. And so out of all of these people, 10 of these people are brand new customers, people who are just coming into our world for the very first time. And so that's really interesting because a lot of the time when people do Black Friday offers, it's a lot of existing customers, right? People are like, oh, I made XYZ amount of dollars, right? And they have this super warm audience that they've nurtured for a long time. 10 of these people are people who were not on our email list 2 or 3 months ago. We attracted them via this podcast closing process. So that's the first strategy that we use. Now, the second strategy, and this is more directly tied into the Black Friday element of this, is that we did a kind of launch in a lot of degrees, and we call this a price increase campaign. This is one of the 7 cash generating playbooks that we use for all of our clients within our 6-figure podcast program. And what we do is we create a sort of momentum by increasing the price of our program. And so what we did was we said, hey guys, great news. We're launching this program. It's going to be $10,000. The price is increasing to that come Thanksgiving. But right now, you guys can still get in before we increase the price. And they were able to get in for $5,000 to $6,000. So it's quite a significant difference in price. So the next time we do a price increase, we may do the same thing. Hey guys, we're increasing the price to $14,000 or $16,000. If you want to get in before we increase the price, now is the time to act. And so what this does is it gives you a way to close out your pipeline. So if in step 1, we are filling our pipeline with new dream customers, people coming into our world, step 2, what this does is it creates urgency around a reason for people to take action. And so price increase campaigns don't have to be all that complicated. For this particular campaign, we actually only did it over 4 days. It wasn't a particularly complicated campaign that we did. But one of the things that we did do is we did a lot of pre-warning, right? We did a lot of warming up of our email list and of our people, letting them know in advance that we were about to do this price increase campaign. And so we probably did about 2 to 4 weeks of emails. And bear in mind, we do a daily email in my email list. So we spent about 2 to 4 weeks of pre-warning, pre-getting people excited. Stu McLaren calls this principle the long runway. The longer you can be teasing something, the more powerful it becomes. So one of the things that we did and I actually learned this from Steve Larson, is that we had a calendar on the wall, right? So January, February, March, all the way through, right? So you have your different months that are on your calendar. One of the things that we do is that we actually set 3 or 4 promotions a year. So we say, okay, we're going to do a promotion in March, we're going to do one in July, we're going to do one in September, and then we're going to do one in November, right? We always pick November because it's Black Friday. And so what we can do is we can actually spend almost 3 months getting people excited for these launches, for these kind of pushes that we do. And so what this allows us to do, and this is the beauty of a price increase campaign, you can also do special bonuses or promotions, is it gives us 3 months for us to fill the pipeline. And so if we go back to strategy number 1, if we take a look at my current business, right now we're doing 60 interviews in a week. And so over the space of 3 months, which is 12 weeks, we're able to actually go through and do 720 interviews over 3 months. And so we're obviously booking sales calls, we're converting people in that time. But at the end of the 3 months, when we then say, hey, here's our campaign, it may be a price increase campaign, it may be a special bonus campaign we're doing. In this Black Friday, I'll talk in a second about some of the bonuses we gave to really drive the decisions. But you can have some kind of campaign that gives people a reason to act now. And what this does is it allows you to close out your existing pipeline. So these 720 people that we've interviewed that have come into our world, a lot of them will have booked sales calls. We'll typically book about 360 sales calls from this, if not a little bit more than that. Then what we're going to find is that we're going to push a lot of those people who haven't already made a decision to take the next step. So this is a big thing that we really encourage people to think about, is having some kind of event that is going to push people to make a decision. And for us, for this November, we did the price increase campaign, and we also gave a pretty good bonus. So this was the second part of the strategy. Step 1 was filling a pipeline with new dream customers. Step 2 was creating an event to push people over the line and to generate a lot of sales with our customers who haven't been converting. And so bear in mind, we've had customers that have been converting and buying this offer for the last 3 months from us, right? People who've been coming in and taking us up on the beta version of this offer. And so this isn't like we're not having any sales coming in for 3 months. What it means is that we have a consistent, daily and weekly conversion process. Every day and every week, we have sales calls that are getting booked and we have customers that are buying, but we also do every 3 months a big event, right? Some kind of big event that is going to get people over the edge to buy. It's going to push them to take the next step. And a lot of the time, the most effective one that you can do is actually a price increase, which about every 3 months is pretty on the money, right? You can probably do a price increase every 3 months in your business if you're doing a really good job inside of your offer. So that is the second strategy that we implement. Now, the third strategy, and I think this is a really, really powerful thing that we implemented this time that we haven't done before, is a grand slam offer. So I'm borrowing this phrase from Alex Hormozi. That's what he calls really amazing offers. But one of the things that we did this time, which was a little bit different, is that we sat down and we said, well, where are people getting stuck? And so the first thing to understand is that most people get really confused about why they sell. Most people say, I want to get customers because I want to sell something, right? Because they're interested in the money. It's actually not the way that you should really go about it. What you should do is you should sell something so you can get a customer, so that customer can help you improve your program and process so that you can then make more money. And so, for example, when we sold our program in beta, we had customers came through, and what we were able to figure out is where are people getting stuck? And inside of our process, we noticed that people got stuck in a few different areas. The first place that people got stuck is when they were actually building out the funnel and the system. So our system is really, really powerful. It's completely automated. It's laid out inside of our program very, very clearly. We give people templates. There's documents in terms of how to set everything up. One of our clients was able to go through it in 12 days, but the average time it takes people to go through this process is around about 3 to 4 weeks. And so we noticed that people were getting stuck in that zone. And we said, if we could take this off their plate, how much sooner could they start making money? Well, if we were able to do this 2, 3, or 4 times faster than the client, then they can actually start making sales 2 to 3 to 4 weeks faster. And therefore, they're going to make a lot more money and they're going to be a lot happier. And so we noticed that people were getting stuck there. The other area that we noticed people were getting stuck was actually with the traffic, right? Where do I post? How do I post it? How do I go about it? And so these two things were the big things we noticed that people were getting stuck. This is where they were being slowed down in the process. And so what we did was we made that a part of our offer. And so I want you guys to understand that we didn't just do this as a one-time offer to get people to buy for Black Friday either. What we decided to do was we said, well, if this is where people are getting stuck in our system, how do we permanently fix this for our clients? And so what we decided to do was we decided to have a standard program, which is the program in the form that it's delivered right now, right? And so it's $10K to join the standard program. And then we decided, well, what if all of these things that we can do for people, we actually just offer it as a premium version of that same program. And so we include the funnel build, we include running traffic, we include extra support from our team, right? They get support with not just me, but the team. They get extra support with me, extra access to me. Maybe we do extra coaching calls. And so what we decided to do was we said, well, what if we create a premium program? And this is exactly what we have now launched. So we now have a 25K program, which is our premium offer. And we have a 10K program that is our standard offer, right? And so when people join the program, they have the choice of one or the other. And obviously the premium program, there's a lot more demands on us. There's a little bit more that we have to do with our team in order to get this result. But the really key thing here is that when people buy the premium program, it's actually the best version of the way we deliver our program because we're able to make sure they don't get stuck in any of these areas that we talked about from here. So what I did was before I decided I'm going to launch this premium program, I decided, well, let's test this out. Let's see if people are really interested in what we're going to deliver and give in this premium program. So when we put together the Black Friday offer, what we did was we actually gave people the premium program for the standard price. So when we sold people in at the 50% off in Black Friday, we were actually giving them what is now our 25K program, where we go and we build out the funnel for people. We go and we run the traffic for people. And then, they come through and they get extra support as they're coming through the process. And so what was really interesting and really powerful about doing the offer this way is that we were able to give people a really amazing deal on a super, super valuable part of our process. And everybody who takes us up on this offer is going to be able to get to the result quicker. They're going to be able to get more testimonials. We're going to have better results. And so that all feeds back into the machine. But what we've also now done is we've created a cash windfall, right? We've collected $40,000 worth of cash. We sold people into over $100,000 worth of revenue. And so what we can now do is we can allocate that cash to build out and make this premium offer and make the premium offer as good as possible. So we can now bring in dedicated funnel builders. We can now bring in, different parts of our team. We can, allocate resources to go and make that premium program as good as possible. And so these were the three things we did that put together our Black Friday offer to just make it as powerful as possible. So the first thing, just to recap, that we did was we created our pipeline and we created a lot of flow. So using our podcast closing process, we were able to get people coming in and actually connecting with us, giving them a really great experience, building a relationship. And a lot of those people booked in for sales calls, but we were creating a windfall of people who were going to take us up on this next step offer afterwards. The second thing that we did is that we gave people a reason to act, right? And we did that by doing a price increase campaign. So increasing the price of our program, but also by implementing step 3, which was creating a really great offer, a grand slam offer. And when we put these three things together, what this enabled us to have was a really great moment of generating a lot of cash and getting a lot of people coming into our business. But what it's also done is set up all of our customers, everybody who didn't buy, now understands the program is 10K. The program's never going to be discounted again. Hey, we actually now have a premium offer that we do as well. And even just yesterday I got on a sales call with somebody that had come through a podcast interview that had been watching Black Friday, had known what we were offering. And when I said to her, hey, we've got two versions, we've got a 10K program or we've got the premium for 25K, she was like, yeah, Jamie, I need to go for the premium. That's definitely the right offer for me. We'll get signed up in January. And we took that next step with her. So she's going to be signing up on the 4th of January, which is really exciting. So even though we did this amazing Black Friday offer, we still had someone who was aware of that, knew that she needed to take this next step. And now we've got people who are actively joining our offer for $25,000. Which is nearly 3 times the price that we were charging before we increased the price of the program. So imagine your lifetime value there. You've got $24,000 that's coming in terms of $25,000 that's coming in terms of lifetime value instead of $8,000 or $10,000 by having this premium offering there. So the difference in profit is absolutely exponential, which is amazing. But what we've done is we've introduced this premium offer, not just by saying, here's all the cool things we want to throw into this offer, but by saying, where are people actually getting stuck and how do we solve that problem for them? So guys, I hope this was helpful, me kind of breaking down our Black Friday. So first of all, the number one thing that is causing us to have so much success in our business right now is that we have consistent sales calls coming in every single week. We have a client acquisition system and we use that via podcast closing. The second thing that's really powerful here is that we actually do these price increase campaigns and we get people taking action. And we've also put together a really, really strong offer. So if you're watching this and you're like, Jamie, this sounds really cool. I wish I could have a podcast that brought me all of these different customers. Please feel free to connect with us. I'm going to put some links down in the bottom here. And if you actually want to take that next step, get on a call with us, you can go to podcastrebels.com/call. Or if you want to try and listen and understand a little bit more about our process, subscribe to the podcast. You can listen to this show, or you can listen to one of our other shows, Six Figure Podcast Rebels or Change Makers with Jamie Atkinson. All the links are going to be in the show notes or the description of YouTube here. So if you need some help taking the next step, just let me know and we'd be happy to help. All right, guys, hope this was valuable. We'll see you on the next podcast episode.